Hello, my name is Abigail Lobato, and today I'll be discussing how we can design professional development or PD sessions that truly engage adult learners by applying the principles of andragogy and evidence-based best practices. As educators, we know adult learners bring an abundance of experiences, personal motivation, and specific expectations to learning. Our goal is to make PD meaningful, applicable, and inclusive. Today, our learning objectives will be to understand the core principles of andragogy and their application to adult learning, reflect on current PD practices and identify ways to model effective teaching, and explore evidence-based strategies for designing effective and inclusive professional development. These objectives will guide our session and ensure we walk away with practical insights that can be applied to our roles as educators and leaders. Andragogy is the practice and theory of facilitating adult learning. Unlike pedagogy, which focuses on teaching children, andragogy is focused on the idea that adults learn differently. Zapata explains that adult learning is driven by autonomy, experience, internal motivation, and relevance. Malcolm Knowles identifies 5 key assumptions about adult learners that are: adults are self-directed learners, they bring experiences to learning, they are ready to learn content that's immediately applicable, are problem-centered, and are internally motivated. These principles guide how we design effective PD experiences. They remind us that adult learners want a clear purpose, want to be treated as professionals, and want learning experiences that connect to their real work. The Colorado Association of School Executives, or CASE, emphasizes that adult learners want PD that's relevant to their real-life roles. When the content is abstract or disconnected from their day-to-day responsibilities, engagement declines. CASE also notes that PD is most effective when it invites contribution and taps into the lived experiences of participants. This promotes trust, investment, and long-term growth. For example, rather than lecturing about instructional strategies, PD can allow teachers to analyze case studies or co-develop strategies based on actual classroom scenarios. This builds ownership of learning and bridges the gap between theory and practice. Darling Hammond and other authors emphasize several essential strategies for effective PD: clear purpose, real-world examples, collaboration, voice and choice, and time for reflection. These align with Knowles' framework and are also supported by the CASE guidelines for delivery formats. First, begin with a clear purpose. Adults need to understand why learning matters. For example, a lecture with interaction can efficiently introduce relevant research while allowing participants to ask clarifying questions. Next, use real-world examples. Incorporate case studies to help participants examine programs, practices, or student data from their own or others' education settings. This encourages deeper analysis and real-time application. To facilitate collaboration, use formats like collaborative dialogue or World Cafe to promote inquiry, share perspectives, and solve problems together. These methods build shared understanding and promote trust among each other and the presenter. To provide voice and choice, consider a panel presentation or pecha kucha, which allows participants to present and hear diverse viewpoints. Adult learners feel respected and seen when their voices shape their learning. Lastly, make sure you build in time for reflection. Project-based workshops or demonstrations often include cycles of practice and reflection, allowing learners to apply new knowledge, receive feedback, and adapt it to their own relevant contexts. Each of these methods focuses on the learner to promote engagement and relevancy, which is crucial in adult education. We must also recognize how bias can impact learning. As Lumen Learning explains, presenters should be aware of cultural, gender, language, and ability-based biases. Unchecked bias can lead to disengagement or feelings of exclusion. The CASE workbook recommends incorporating diverse voices and visuals, offering multiple ways for participants to engage, and checking our language and examples to ensure inclusivity. These strategies make space for all participants to feel seen, respected, and able to contribute during PD opportunities. As instructional leaders, we need to model what we hope to see in classrooms. That includes using inquiry-based thinking, interactive formats, real-world relevance, and flexibility. If we want student learning to be active, reflective, and collaborative, our PD must reflect that too. Before you design your next PD, pause and reflect. Is the content relevant and clearly connected to teachers' everyday practice? Does it honor their expertise and experiences? Is there built-in space for voice, reflection, and application? If you can answer yes to all three, you're on the right track. Thank you for joining me in this conversation on adult learning. As we continue to grow in our leadership roles, let's commit to designing PD that respects our colleagues as experienced learners. I encourage you to share one takeaway from this session with your PLC or instructional team, and to try at least one new strategy that makes your next PD more engaging, inclusive, and meaningful. Let's keep learning together.